That Fork in the Road program by Elon Musk, 75,000 people have said they're going to take the deal. I think the number would be higher, but there are a lot of people in Washington who would be eligible for that, but they're just worried, whether or not it's legal, whether or not it would actually happen, or if they said, hey, I would love to take the free salary for 8 months, and if it doesn't go through, suddenly Elon Musk has got a list of 85,000 people who don't want to work there. They would be the first one to go.
Well,
that's why a lot of people didn't sign. I heard from some of my friends in D.C.
A lot of people moved during COVID, and so they were working from home, and they don't want to go back to D.C. So, and the program did get the green light from the judge, and you're not allowed to sign up for the program anymore if you didn't already.
So you got 2.5 million federal workers. He said you all have a chance to leave with your 6 to 8 months' pay. But then they got frozen by the courts. Yesterday it got unfrozen. The union said you can't do that, and then the judge essentially said, I don't know, can't they make their own decision?
Well,
and he said, yeah. So, okay, so what is it, 60, 80, 90? So it would probably go higher than that. And then little by little, we could, and pay them on time. So we don't have to do lump sums and take from another area. Pay them out, not one big lump sum. So don't say that we're taking money away or denying it. Don't get jammed up there. And then after 8 months, you will see everything shrink. The one thing Elon does say is that sometimes if I cut too much, I get some back. So if one agency is bare and barren, no pun intended, we're going to put some people back there.
Surely. Well, here's the thing. Ultimately, I think a lot of the people who didn't sign up, and they pulled the plug on the program last night. They said, okay, if you haven't signed up yet, don't bother because it's closed. They're worried that it is not legal. The judge who was appointed by Bill Clinton back in the 90s, what he said was the unions don't actually have standing. He did not say whether or not it's legal. I'm sure that's going to be adjudicated as well. But it would, there will be fewer people working in the federal government if Elon Musk is able to get that buyout to work. He was actually on just very shortly ago, while you were sleeping, he did a Zoom call to world governments. It was a summit in Dubai. And here's what he had to say about entire federal agencies vanishing.
We really have here rule of the bureaucracy as opposed to rule of the people, democracy. We want to restore rule of the people. And so what that means is reducing the size of the federal government, basically reducing regulation. There's a tremendous amount of over-regulation that's happened over time. I think we do need to delete entire agencies as opposed to leave part of them behind. Because if you leave part of them behind, it's easy. It's kind of like if leaving a weed. If you don't remove the roots of the weed, then it's easy for the weed to grow back.
So what Doge has done and
delete.
People have done. By the way, I love this thing he does. So here's some anecdotal information when he gets in front of his guys, his women doing some of this work. He'll bring people in and say, you got 15 minutes to explain what you do. You know how oftentimes you hear from federal workers, or maybe it's you guys out there, you feel as though you're doing a good job and no one really cares? And all of a sudden you have that moment to say, wow, you're asking me what I'm doing. Great. Maybe you hate it because you're getting away with murder, getting that check, you know you're not doing anything. But if you care about your job, you relish that moment. Then you add in, this is what I would do if I'm in charge. And that's what impresses Elon Musk if you look at his other businesses and most managers. So I just think that all of a sudden you're in a biz, you're in a job, you're in a drab office, going to a federal building, and you swipe in and you feel like, what am I really doing? Waiting to retire? Well, not anymore. He's going to make you accountable. And believe it or not, Teddy Roosevelt talked about doing the same thing, only without the pass. He had a different type of security
They're also
system.
focusing on immigration, and they stripped money from New York City. The front page of the New York Post says U.S. versus New York. And it says Trump administration claws back $80 million for migrant hotels. So what happened was that money was approved by Congress in 2023. They put it in the bank account last week for New York City to be able to use that money for immigration and for shelters.
No, the money was for FEMA. Federal emergencies.
FEMA money,
and they're using it for the migrants.
Exactly. So the Trump administration said, I don't think so. They went to check the bank account. The money is gone.
Not just 60, but 80,000.
80 million.